I have a love-hate relationship with Genshin Impact. The lore is great, even if it tests my patience every time Paimon opens her mouth.
Oh, sounds like you're really struggling to cope.
Oh! But then again, Need made me lose my first 50-50 to Deluxe, so fuck this game. Anyway, the main reason why I always come back to this toxic relationship is the characters. So for today's episodes of Renan's Hyperfixation Corner, let's talk about Genshin's character design philosophy and the fandom's reaction to criticism. It is undeniable that Genshin has had a massive impact in the character design industry, particularly in the VTuber sphere, since the game exploded around the same time us ADHD-riddled adults wanted to become anime. Puppet animation, or known in the VTuber industry as Live 2D, is a medium that allows the level of detail that Genshin Impact is known for. You know, the type that makes the fan artists cry, and animators want to put a hitman on you in a fit of rage. It is not difficult to see why its characters ended up in many creators' mood boards as they commissioned their designs. They are incredibly appealing. Asymmetry is a tool that Genshin designers use a lot. It creates interest by making you scan the character up and down, trying to find the little differences between left and right. One might say that they abuse it, but nevertheless is effective. Couple it with the impulse of showing as much skin as possible and the copious amounts of textures, and you get something that tries to attract as many people as possible. And therein lies the problem. Gacha aesthetics is a term used in a derogatory manner to describe a design that actively undermines the character for the sake of appeal. And as the name suggests, is not a problem that is endemic only to Genshin. Many others of its genre employ this tactic, and for some, that is kind of the point. For example, New Carnival, don't ask me how I know that title, is a game whose only goal in its narrative is to make you bang as many hot guys as possible. And so, they all must be generically attractive. This is also something that affects games that are not gacha games like League of Legends. Oh! Well, never mind then. I guess League of Legends is also a gacha game too. The point that I'm trying to make here is that while it is not necessarily bad, it creates characters that, while cute, cool, or sexy, do nothing to tell us about the story they are trying to say about the character and the narrative of the game overall. Character design is about trade-offs. What you choose to represent verbally versus what you choose to represent visually. An example I bring to the proverbial table is Noelle. Paraphrasing from Genshin Wiki, the following is said about her. Extremely strong and reliable, Noelle is considered to be the maid of all maids. She is stubborn and willing to unnecessarily endanger her life at any moment to help someone. She has tried many times to join the rank of the Knights of Avonius to accomplish her dreams of becoming a full-fledged knight, but has fallen short every time. From this extract, we can synthesize her concept as a maid who wishes to become a knight, with her primary character traits being that she is strong enough to pulverize a boulder, and has an altruistic nature, and is also hard-headed. And as such, she wears a maid outfit that incorporates the knight's armor into her design. It uses red to express her passion, while the rose and thorn motif can help reinforce the idea of beauty and strength. Overall, she has a competent design that gets the main point across. However, she's also as thin as a noodle, has no scars to show that she puts her life in danger, and she has a goddamn metal bustier that jiggles. Do these points make her a bad character design? Well, no, not really. Do they add anything to her character? Also no. All it really does is make a character a bit more shallow by trading interesting ideas in favor of making her appealing to as many people as possible. And honestly, that is sadly fair. After all, she is a product of a game whose target audience is not necessarily a fan of things that are outside the conventional standards of beauty. I am used to it, and I still choose to engage with the game despite this. But if that's the case, why am I making this video? Well, while most of the fandom understands and accepts that there are faults to this type of character design philosophy, there is a vocal minority within the Genshin community that seems to not be so keen about this type of feedback. There has been a lot of rightful criticisms around Genshin Impact's character design since the beginning. And with the most recent batch of hot papas and mamas came another wave of questions. Why are they more modern looking? Why only one male 5-star? Why are most of them nuclear white in a region that is based on POC countries? And why does Xilonen look like a blacksmith? To give you some context, if you're not yet caught up with the lore, Xilonen is Natlan's premier blacksmith. She made Kachina's turbo twirly, Tasca's flying gun, and Mabuika's dragon bike, as well as her own blades and turntables. During Natlan's story quest, we often make a reference to Xilonen's craftsmanship, especially as it refers to the traveler's ancient name, which is out of the scope of this video, but you know what, if you want to know more about it, watch Ashkai's video recaps. They are really helpful. Anyway, the point being, we are constantly alluding to her ability to forge, whether it be sci-fi looking tech, or just really pretty handwriting on a stone at the cost of part of her life force. You know, just girly pop things. And so what does this incredibly skilled level 100 blacksmith main look like? Now keep in mind that even though Xilonen looks like a very modern woman, they incorporated a lot of Mexica culture. Clever references to maize, which is the domain of the goddess she derives her name from. So I must appreciate the designer who made her, as they did a great job mixing the cultural elements with the roller derby theme. I'll leave you a Reddit post if you want to read more about the cultural inspirations behind her. That being said, this outfit does not fill the role that she was made to fill in this story at all. Even in the post-Natlan story quest within Nefa, she is still being referenced as a craftswoman, not as the music lover, party-goer teacher who procrastinates at her work the design is hinting her to be. So it is fair for people to question why a core part of her character design is being ignored in favor of shorts with an uncomfortable amount of skin exposed. If you do not know the story, how are you even supposed to know that? This could have a number of justifications. Not all character design needs to be obvious. That much I can agree with. After all, bigness can be used as a tool of storytelling. Maybe she hates her job. Or simply, it is not a big part of who she is. Fashion is a way of self-expression after all. It would be totally fair for a character who doesn't really like their job to not want to dress the part. But I'm not really sure how much I want to believe this, because at the same time, they're mentioning her job so much during the story quest that I don't really know if I want to give them this excuse. It just doesn't sit right with me. And if this was the sort of answer that Genshin Twitter could come up with, I would not be spending this much energy trying to make my point. In response to the criticism to Natlan's character design, Genshin Twitter came up with this lovely image. How some Genshin players want their characters to be designed. Hyperbolic statements aside, this image shows Mualani, a character whose job is being a tour guide, and so she's wearing a shirt that says the word guide. I don't know if you noticed, but the joke here writes itself, folks. This sparked an onslaught of memes of other characters being dressed as their occupation, seemingly making fun of the idea that someone could want their fictional characters to be designed in a way that makes them readable. Cause you know, it's not like the principle of character design is show, not tell, but whatever. For the most part, I decided to protect my peace and not engage with it, until I saw the following comment. I'll always think it's hilarious whenever somebody complains about outfits not matching their profession, cause nobody actually does that in real life. Sorry if I'm being a little condescending right now, but girl, are you for real? Listen, I am happy and glad that you can relate to this type of character design, and if you enjoy it, good for you, girl. But I hate to break it to you, they are not real people. Real people have the freedom to choose their outfits without any real meaning behind it. Even though I argue that there is always intention behind the things that we do, but I digress, that's not the point. This does not apply to character design. In this field, there is not a single choice that is not intentional. I also saw fellow character designers argue for multifaceted designs, and you know what? I do agree. They are great, and there should absolutely be variety in the way the characters are dressed for the sake of nuance and interest. But that only works if you meet two conditions. One, the design actually works in the facets that the characters is supposed to have. And two, there's a clear difference in setting. Xilonen's design could have honestly worked a lot better if they showed differences between her job self and her hobby self. Maybe she could have worn an apron while working, where she has the tool of her trade to make it crystal clear that when she is outside of work, anything related to that is dead to her. Girl, what a mood. Additionally, I don't know that this argument in particular for Hoyoverse is quite right, because their characters are one note. Genshin does do a better job at making their characters more than just a trope, but considering what Honkai Star Rail is doing...
Another fish has come. That's the taste of the ocean. In the deep sea, already been swallowed by the deep sea. A fish in a pond has no hope.
Yeah, the bar is in hell. Like I said, there is room for not literal design in fiction, but there has to be variety. If it was an even split, it would be fine. But it is not. It's Xilonen, Yanfei, Shanyun, Guki, Yula, Yansan, Fairsan, Oron, Mizuki, Sucro, Shanling, Hazel, Cadiz, Skirk, Mabuika, Beidou, Kokomi, Mika, Navia, Veresa, Baishu. I could go on, but this is getting old. All of the names listed above could have a valid reason for it to be this way. Shanling is a normal girl who happens to like cooking. Oron is an outlier of his tribe, and so he doesn't really dress like they do. Mizuki's job, unlike Xilonen's, is actually very hard to visually represent without it being uncanny with Genshin's aesthetic. So they have to focus on a different part of her character. You could honestly say this for almost every single character in Genshin, but all of them sacrifice interesting storytelling for the sake of appeal. The reason why Escoffier is basically topless, why Veresa wears the concept of a skirt, why most girls in this girl are skimpy, why most guys have long hair, or why everyone is skinny is simple. It's what the most average common denominator wants. It's what sells. We have to see the reality of things. Most of the time, Genshin fails to say anything interesting through their character design other than appealing character who wears cute costumes. We cannot pretend that these are real people to justify Hojo's decisions. They are products. They are labubus. We cannot accept everything they throw at us. We have to be critical. And we have to let Hoyo know that this is supposed to be better. That we are paying money and we deserve a better product. To close out this video, I would like to add once again, for the sake of nuance, not all character design needs to be obvious. Not every character needs the design to tell us everything about them. And not everyone who designs a character needs to be held to the same standards as a multi-billion-dollar company. Lord knows that all the creativity and fun will be sucked out of the joy of creation if that were true. I am not here to make you change your mind. At the end of the day, I'm just a mentally ill artist who cares a little bit too much about fashion and character design. But if there is something that I hope you take away from this video, is to always be critical of what you are consuming. Vote with your wallet if you want something to change. And remember, do not let anybody else's opinions on the internet take away your enjoyment of things. But hey, if you disagree with my takes, then please do let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your opinion. Maybe you can make me change mine. Hello darling, welcome to the end of the video. I know that this is a little bit different than what you were expecting, because you know, I've been talking ad nauseum on a water gym litter video, but I just need more time with that video, and I figured that, you know, because the concept is still fresh, I should talk about this instead first. So yeah. Oh, and if you like the video, please like and subscribe, I would genuinely appreciate it. Oh, and also, huge shout out to Noxorenex for making a video on the same topic. I honestly completed my script before I saw her video. I think it's another great point of view from the same topic, so if you want to know more and you want to see another opinion, go to her. Anyway, I'll see you later. Toodles. Mwah.